Hey. So, you may not have been expecting to hear me again so soon if you had experienced a timeline that no longer exists. A stream that took place earlier. What stream? That's not real. Shut up. Just shut up. Shut up. Anyway, the other one, I watched back to it, and it was just dropping frames all over the fucking place. Didn't notice that until the stream was over, because I've only got the one monitor, and, not one of you told me. I guess I've been pranked. No, I really don't hold it against you. It's fine. We're just gonna do it again. The good news... Well, the good news is that I can breeze past a few things a little bit faster. The bad news is that we've lost all that original commentary. That's now gone. The worst news is that I'm going to have to come up with all new commentary, and you're going to have to hear that. Remember, this is the first time, so pretend to be surprised, okay? Okay. We're going to skip the preamble this time. I had a few thoughts that I can just kind of check off fast. Military versus industrial things in Dead Space, not realized. Realized in Lost Planet, for some reason, somehow. They cared more about that there, with the civilian variants and the military variants looking very, very different. Yeah, that's about it. Okay. Over to Wayne Planet. We've got our settings. We're sending you right on over. We should see things just fine. Alright. We're starting. We've got games for Windows Live. That's still a thing. Still a thing I had to fight with. Might have been part of the problem. We'll see if that persists. Remember, I said we'd breeze through real quick? Here we go. Lost Planet 2 has character customization. It looks like this. We got parts, we got weapons, we got abilities, we got emotes, we got noms de guerre, we got character selection. You can choose these archetypes. This is the most unfortunate one. This is a close second. The only way you can be brown, the only way you can be a lady. We're gonna be this guy. Or this lady. We don't know. The equipment's nice and thick like that. You level up, you get new parts to look different. Okay, we're there so far? We're ready? Make sure that we got the right one selected. There we go. Unlike Lost Planet 1, you can pick all kinds of weapons. These are cyclable back and forth for different variants that you unlock via this thing, the Lost Planet 2 slot machine. And this will be something that I do reiterate from our last playthrough that doesn't exist. Remember that, it doesn't exist. That's not real. That I would like to impress upon all game developers everywhere that I don't have a fucking gambling problem. You do. Not everyone in the world enjoys this bullshit, and definitely not when it comes to your actual equipment progression within a game that does not support microtransactions, or indeed usually multiplayer. This game does support multiplayer. You probably won't find people to play it with. Anyway, this is our loadout. We'll see what we've got once we're in the game. This slot, the support slot, you can have a shield or an injection gun, which kind of buffs your team or heals them. The V device, I'm not entirely sure what it does. We might just try it to see. I don't know. Because I pretty much never use anything from this slot anyway. Alright. We got it. We got it. We're caught up. We're feeling good. We're still taking it easy. Don't mind the tone of my voice or the rust. Yeah, see, that's what happens when I try to go too fast. Anyway, or the rushed nature of my speech. We are taking it easy. It says it right here on the tin, okay? Don't you dare dispute this. We're not going to do training. We're not going to do online because there's no one there. Campaign. We're creating a game. Chapter 1, Episode 0. Normal. Friendly fire is available. Private slots. You can set them for your friends. AI players. Probably don't take them, but we're gonna because it's flavor. Alright. We're feeling it. We got the momentum. How do we like this new angry format? Just kidding, I can't read it. Alright, and this is the world post-Wayne.
the planet's colonial military enterprise. These rebels came...
Oh, someone followed. I heard a ding.
There's 3. One's wounded. Easy pickings.
The so-called snow...
Hey bud, thanks for the follow. You can take it back if you want. I don't really do the follow for follow thing. Largely because I can't be bothered to keep track of any kind of social web. Oh, is it? Are we dropping frames already? Maybe. Maybe we are, maybe we're not. We're gonna try something real quick. As soon as this cutscene is over. If we're not dropping frames, it may just be because the video is buffering.
Source known as thermal energy. The snow pirates utilized the harmonizer, a device which gave them
We'll find out. And if you've been reading the text, you know everyone has that thing on their arm that Wayne had. They're still big bugs. They're still the primary source of future sauce. They're still pie. Hey, dude. And there's our grappling hook mechanic, which I'll reiterate from the other timeline, which doesn't exist again. You know, just making sure we still know that. That we don't really see that grappling hook mechanic again in a Capcom game until like Monster Hunter World, I want to say. It may have come in earlier in a Monster Hunter title, but not one that I can call to mind readily. I remember climbing was in the DS versions and that sort of thing, but I got nothing as far as the grappling hook is concerned.
Intensified the snow pirates' battle within
Could be wrong.
the source of thermal energy. This conflict began to radically transform the planet's frigid environment. It is AT-12, and EDN-3 still shows no signs of being able to shake off the chaos that envelops her.
So yeah, it's been some time since the rampage of Wayne. And here's the guys we're with.
That's what you get from a stolen VS.
They say this like they're not all stolen, like I don't just appropriate these things as I find them abandoned.
We barely have enough to go around. If we have to activate our harmonizers, we're done for.
Maybe you are.
Hey, I got a life form reading just up ahead there.
Copy that. Multiple readings too. Acrid?
I agree, dude. It's frustrating. Okay, what else? I agree. So there we are. We're back at it.
Take up the rear.
Just a moment here. That's right, I wanted to try this. Let's see. Yeah, dude, peekaboo. Let's see something. Let's see if it just doesn't like it being full screen. No, seems fine. Okay. Well, we'll swap it back to the other way and see if it continues to be fine. God knows, right? Select. We're applying those settings. Alright. Here we go. We're up, we're moving. We see our NPC friends. They sub in for players. There we go. Your friends can do this on VSs that have little climb hooks too, and this sort of clunkier movement style is something that I would have been a fan of for a great many of the VSs, perhaps something that was a little bit more heavily armored. But no, it doesn't last. It's really just here to frame the game in a way that's somewhat familiar to someone who's played Lost Planet 1. You know, we start somewhere bleak and snowy. Our thermal energy is typically ticking down. And it would be in the VS here if I hadn't taken a specific ability that takes up 2 slots called VS Master. But the old loop is the same. You break things, you pick up things. It's Lost Planet. Of note, we do have a couple of new mechanics. You know, you've seen the character customization. The VS now has a startup sequence. We have different prompts for that. As well as, there's a repair mechanic for our VSs that we'll see later. So we don't have to ditch the ones that are simply all used up. Anyway, looking at the chat for the brief moment that I got a chance to, odds are good that that follow was a bot, huh? That's okay. And just like that, our VS intro is over. They broke.
That didn't turn out too badly.
Aside from the fact we lost another VS. According to the map, camp up ahead.
Is that good or bad?
I don't know. By up ahead, I mean way, way up ahead.
Okay. Way, way up ahead. But we got cell phone posts. So we can go ahead and, you know, extend our reception range. Get our GPS working. It's in the upper right. Check that out. That's a new feature. 1 had a radar. 2 has an actual map. We can see where we're going. Unfortunately, it also does reveal that as open as the maps may look with their obscuring of details, they're quite closed. There's a lot of similarities to draw between this and Monster Hunter as we know it, and that includes relatively linear maps with fixed and micro objectives. I believe this one calls them the good job system. They're kind of like in-game achievements that aren't necessarily tied to a profile or a handle or anything like that. And like Monster Hunter, you get ranked at the end. There we are. Now, of course, like Wayne, we could rip those off and wield them, but you still have to hold still to fire it. And, it's more beneficial to move around. And the flamethrower we selected here, in place of the shotgun, I should add, is like any of the other energy weapons available. It draws from our thermal energy gauge. There we are. Of note, we have a whole lot more movement options than we did as Wayne. We can sprint, we can dodge roll. Without crouching first, I mean. See? And it's a lot like the Monster Hunter dodge roll. A lot like the Monster Hunter sprint, too. You can't do much else when you're doing this. You just kind of run in a direction. You'll also notice that we don't regenerate quite as fast as Wayne does. That's because our Harmonizer is the mass-produced version, and not Wayne's special prototype that made him immortal. In order to recover like Wayne, we have to drop everything else we're doing and just kinda hope real hard in the direction of our hand. And we'll get a chance to see that in a bit. For right now, I have to burn this bug. There we are. Our grappling hook now also grabs objects at a distance, which is nice. It's certainly handy for picking things up. It works on these boxes here, as well as thermal energy. Again, as if this wasn't my job, you know? Like, I know I'm just a temp to these guys, but still, come on, man. Alright, we gotta go and join our team. Space Eddie 88 is, oh, and Unplugged Roy. These are great names. But they're getting impatient, they're getting a little bit cold. I'm the only one dressed for the weather. Now, I mentioned that one of these groups was extremely unfortunate, and that would be because the only way to be brown is to be a jungle pirate.
Sounds good to me.
I don't think Capcom meant it that way. And you know, that way. But it's what it looks like, isn't it? It's really, really very unfortunate that they did that. It's one of those things where you go, yeah, that would not work out, huh? And it shouldn't have worked out back then, but it was a different time.
You're just not used to it. Snow and ice don't smell, but this, you're in a whole other world now, pal.
Jungles stink too. Which again, really unfortunate. Really unfortunate that we frame these things this way.
Something to do with the underground thermal energy reservoirs. Damned if I know. All right, everyone. Team leaders are reporting in.
We're rounding up the troops. Looks like this is gonna be one hell of a party.
A party it will be.
Just to take on a bunch of half-assed miners?
Well, the mine isn't just sitting out in the open with a big old welcome sign. You'll have to go through some pretty dense bush to get there.
We got no idea what to expect down there.
My man, he said dense bush.
You couldn't hack it.
Okay.
Confidence.
Again, fucking rude.
Ready for your drop?
Anyway, they've mentioned jungle pirates. Lost Faction 2 stars factions. And I say Lost Faction 2 because my brain has skipped ahead in the sentence. My bad. Lost Planet 2 stars factions rather than individual characters.
Once you're down there, the
These guys that we're with right now are called the Rounders. And I suppose that's because they're supposed to be the all-rounders. There's nothing really defining about them, other than they kind of sort of look like the characters that we played in Lost Planet 1. The Jungle Pirates are another faction. There's Neo Nevik, which is the villain faction from the first game. They said Neo because, hey, it's new. And, then there are the Waysiders, who are a little bit more down and out. We'll talk about them when we get to it. But yeah, the factions you would think are a bigger deal given the way that the story is framed. They're not. In fact, several of them don't get their own customization. They are instead customization options within a larger faction. Anyway, we jumped off the helicopters to get on boats. We couldn't have landed the helicopters in a clearing at the mouth of the river and taken the boats up. No, that would have made too much sense. We have to jump out. We gotta pose. Things gotta explode. Logistics be damned. Anyway, it's Vietnam now. See? And also, those guys landed just fine. Why did we have to take the raft? That doesn't really seem to make much sense. Now we're in the jungle. Still same planet. It's still the lost one.
Activate any data posts you find so you can get a lay of the land. Also, don't let your thermal energy reserves run low out there.
Alright, he's very worried about our thermal energy reserves. That's that number in the upper left. But we know that from being Wayne. Go to YKD. No. Giorno Strike. These are much better names than I got the last time. The NPCs that aren't in your direct party, the ones with the numbers are in your direct party, have randomized names. So sometimes you'll get some real fucking treasures. And we can see the acrid function much the same way in the jungle as they did everywhere else. We remember those flying things with the pendulum heads, and they just kind of bump into you. They're not much threat individually. Oop.
Rendezvous with them. I'm making the drop. Stay on your guard.
I will, I promise. My guard is going to be so on that it's going to be uncomfortable. Well, anyway. That guy got annihilated by this bug. And like with Isaac, who we just were, and remember, this is a compare and contrast, it benefits us to take off their limbs. We're not Isaac, of course. I mean, honestly, we might be. I don't know what this character's name is. I don't think they have one. The acrid is decimated, though. We did that. We divided it by 10. There we are. There we are. Containers still contain thermal energy. They still explode, and they'll still hurt you if you're too close when you blow them up. We want this post. We gotta get our reception back. There we go. And we've turned on all of them in this region. Which means that it's just us and these, you know, mouth-leg boys that we're kind of used to seeing. Of note, they don't kind of, you know, freeze anymore. They more burn out and turn to rock. Which, yeah, I guess is a cool effect for, you know, depicting that the climate has changed. But with how it is they describe the acrid working, I don't know that it makes a ton of sense. Oh, here we go. Hang on. Come on, hand. There we go. And that's what it takes for us to heal like Wayne does. Our gear just isn't as good. We are not Wayne. Who, of course, was perfect and golden and immortal and bloodthirsty. The only thing he remembered was how to fight. He said it himself. I'm not sure what we remember now.
Stay on your current course.
Perhaps this Snow Pirate Elite, who looks a lot like the Crimson Pirates from the last game, remembers how to love. There we go. We strike a pose here. There's only one pose to strike. It's this one. Because we look like a complete idiot while we do it. Also, this is extremely dangerous to do with a firearm. Don't ever do that. And you can see at the top that we got little achievements for that as well. We got a B. We got a success rate of good job stuff for 100%. We got a B. And you can see that the missions themselves are relatively short. That was about 4 minutes.
Visual on the jungle pirates before long.
Mostly they don't get longer. There are some that stretch, like, you know, into the double digits, but it's all very much bite-sized content up until, I'd say, the very end. You're right, Chief. I'll have a plan ready for any contingency. I'll just go ahead and feel out the shape of every molecule in the universe in order to discern what can and will happen at any given time. That's not impossible at all. Anyway, this is why it is that I take the flamethrower instead of the shotgun. Shotgun's cool, makes a cool noise. But it's not quite as effective as dealing with large amounts of small things. Okay. Alright, well, at the very least, we seem to be losing less frames than we did originally. There's no accounting for what Comcast does, but I'm hoping that this will at least be watchable. On my end, it's a completely smooth experience. I'm not sure about yours, but we're working on it. We're working on it. So long as it's just small hitches here and there, I think that's acceptable. But the last one, which, again, I'll remind you, isn't real. Don't even think about it. Was entirely just unacceptable. We're talking a real slideshow in parts. Which is odd because this is not taxing anything. We're well below, I think, like even 30% as I'm running this. Oop, I've set myself on fire. We'll have to, you know, stop, drop, and roll. But it's still decided, for whatever reason, to record and stream extremely poorly. Okay. Here we go. Here's the first VS outside of the tutorial laying here. We're going to prop it back up in just a moment. And that's why we tore that chain gun off that thing. Because it's just a weapon that suits the kind of battle of attrition you end up in much better than the shotgun that it has.
You're almost at the mine. Watch out for enemy reinforcements.
25 rounds versus 400, you know, one of them's just more suited for long-term stuff. We survived the Acrid Gauntlet. And there we go. It continues to be Vietnam. There's a real fondness for that kind of setting with a whole lot of developers I've seen. They want to do their jungle warfare thing. I mean, I guess I don't begrudge them. But Vietnam was kind of a bad fucking time for everyone involved, and I don't know that making light of it is the best idea. We're gonna owe him for this favor. He strafes it in a helicopter. Do you feel like you owe him? I didn't ask him to do that. What I'm doing is already probably a war crime, if there was indeed like a governing body here. There's not. The only authority, if you could argue for authority, was Wayne. He was absolute. His will, unquestionable. Wayne only demanded bodies. So he could harvest the thermal energy, until his brain went bad. We don't know where he is now or what he's doing. Frankly, that should scare us, but it doesn't. We also, interestingly enough, don't find out. We don't check back in with Wayne in any of the games. Lost Planet 3 happened, and because it's Capcom, it was a prequel. And that's another thing that I would like to reiterate. From a night that never came, a dawn that never rose. Don't fucking do that. Prequels are stupid, and if you continue to look backwards, none of us are ever going to get anywhere. You can also largely ignore continuity within prequels, save for the ending. So long as the ending lines up with or does not directly dispute more current, in the fictional timeline, entries, then you're golden. This is fucking cheap. It also removes the ability to build on a world. You're just introducing things that would have kind of sort of been already implied. We don't see anything new. We just see the old things presented as if they were new. Star Wars is real bad about that. They're now doing their High Republic phase, which is fucking ridiculous. Do you want to know what happened even before the Old Republic? Yes? Well, then you have baby brains. There's nothing that happened back there that matters. We know how it ends. The Republic falls apart. And any kind of mystery is removed when you show things like just how lame the Clone Wars really were. Sounds grand and grave and mysterious when Old Man Kenobi tells Luke about it. You wonder, man, that must have been a time. But then when you see it, it's mostly just the one dude marching around and doing close to nothing. The troopers are only ever shooting robots. So, men we grew in vats shot robots, and that's it. That's the story. If there was a more clear illustration of shit that doesn't matter, I don't know what it would be. Like, for real, it just clones fighting robots. What stakes are there? We're talking about two infinite armies that can just butt heads forever. And you can argue that, well, yes, it's tragic when a clone loses its life because that's a human being. And we can't say that it doesn't have a unique existence. And, of course, it does. But they are, by their nature, built to be disposable, aren't they? Otherwise, why would you have a clone army rather than just an army? There we are. And we can see from shooting the grenades that all of our old Lost Planet tricks still work. And that's going to remain true for pretty much everything. This is a take and control map, so we have to gather those objectives up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we win. And we go on to the next phase of this. My friend there is just getting eaten alive by this turret. There's not much I can do about that. NPC's gonna NPC. But frankly, okay, so these NPCs here that we're seeing are supposed to sub in for real players. And for my experience with multiplayer games, they work a little bit too well. It's kind of too real. In that largely what they are is a hindrance. They mostly suck and die and take my stuff, while I have to go and do the objectives. How about you, Lost Things, who view this at some point in time in the future? What's your experience with multiplayer games? Do you like them? Do you like the people you meet? Can you show me how to like the people that I meet? I would very much like to learn. Up we go. We could climb that ladder, but we're not gonna. We have a grappling hook. And for those of us that watched our playthrough as Wayne, we also noticed that our standard weapon here, the gun sword, has a steadier, kind of more deliberate rate of fire than our old machine gun did. I prefer it that way. Higher damage per bullet, lower rate of fire. It just kind of makes more sense to my head. That's probably gonna suck. But we can do this and just kind of melt it. Because we have the flamethrower. And just around this corner is the control thing that shuts that down. Anyway. Of note with this gun sword, I believe I also started to talk kind of briefly about real-world analogs to it. This one doesn't really have a sword so much as it has just this knife. So, you know, bayonets are a thing. We also, for a while there, had swords that were also guns, and vice versa, guns that were also swords, and I think that distinction is important because, well, it does matter how it is you put it together, doesn't it? For the swords that were also guns, you compromise the sword in that, you know, you now have to put this barrel on it and make sure that the violent shaking of the gun part doesn't fuck up the barrel through repeated use and just material fatigue. I'm sorry, not the barrel, the blade. Doesn't fuck up the blade. And then for guns that were also swords, well, you've lost a spot to put your hand on the gun. You've increased the weight of it, which fucks up your ability to point it. And then you've also, potentially, screwed up your bullet trajectory, because if something comes out of the barrel wrong, which it typically did on firearms of this age, those of course being not the greatest and usually not standardized as far as parts, then it's going to impact the blade, and you know, that's not a strike that you want. And here we have a tool to deal with that guy. This is the plasma cannon. I don't remember if we had that in Lost Planet 1 or not. I know we had the plasma gun, not so much the cannon. The cannon is like the plasma gun, but better, in that it does that. It's an area of effect weapon. Takes a fair amount of thermal energy to fire per shot, but it makes very, very, very short work of VSs and people, all at the same time. It's nice that way. Thank you, Pi. I know, it's going much faster this time, isn't it? Not so much dwelling and dawdling. And just let me check in with the witch real quick. How are we looking so far? Excellent. That's what I like to hear. There we are. All generators are active. We're ready. Do you feel ready? I feel ready. Here we go. It's that genuine oh no moment. Because oh no, Capcom. Capcom, oh no. Later they also did Resident Evil 5, which again, I know they didn't mean it to be racist. I know they didn't mean it, but oh no. Oh no. These are the jungle pirates. And keep in mind, this is not Earth. So you'd figure kind of in space, everybody would go everywhere. Just like we did, in fact, on Earth. You know, there's a number of people that would tell you that there were no brown folks in medieval Europe during the swords and sorcery ages, but they're wrong, and they forget that the Moors existed, and I'm not sure why, because the Moorish Empire was a long-lasting one, and, you know, had the whole Iberian Peninsula. Like any empire, they crumbled eventually, but hey, that's how empires work, right? So yeah, we're attempting to colonize planets, and for some reason we don't get everybody everywhere. Not sure why. Doubly so with the storyline of this particular game. When Nevik pulled out. Nevik being the corporation that is evil, maybe. They did so in a hurry. And just sort of stranded folks. You know, places. Which would lead me to believe that the people left behind settled wherever the fuck they settled, you know? But of course, yeah, I don't read it as intentional. It doesn't seem that way. It seems unfortunate and accidental. But if you're an aspiring game developer and somehow, through a bizarre twist of fate, watch this, you know, this nothing channel from basically nowhere, aimed at no one, don't do that. Don't do that. Just build it into your head that kind of everybody goes everywhere, given any length of time. And they definitely do if your game is science fiction in the future. We're almost done with our take and hold here. You guys know how control points go. I believe this was sort of training wheels for the competitive multiplayer mode that you could play, but of course I didn't and won't be doing that. It's Lost Planet 2. A perfect victory. We're incredible. We really fucked up that drill. Oh, here we go. It's a quick time. Y'all remember those? I did it. I feel powerful. I feel engaged with the cinematics. That's what quick times were supposed to be, right? Not annoying distractions. Hey guy, look out. He did. That would be for your co-op partner. One of them anyway. Thank you, Pi. Are you somewhere you shouldn't be? Yes? Okay. Mission complete. We've done it in about 11 minutes. Well, in about 12 minutes. Our gauges are full. Our battle gauge is full. We got a bunch of points. We got a 100% success rate. 100% on your test is a B now. Thanks, Capcom. BSB. That averages out to an A. Our career level goes up. It means we'll unlock more parts soon. Right now, what we've got available to us, and you open those boxes that I've been picking up, there's credits inside. Sometimes there's a title. We're continuing to the next chapter. Our career level going up means we'll get pieces. There we go. And I believe this is part that we didn't get to last time because I think I exited out and went to the menu to show off what it was that the customization looked like. And the chapters apparently have sub-chapters, so whatever. We'll be taking breaks at the episode ends rather than chapter ends in order to speed open our stupid fucking boxes for a gambling mechanic in a game that doesn't need one. But it's got it, you know? Why wouldn't it? You guys love gambling, right? You all have the same fixation as the developers? What am I saying? There's a lot of people that would strongly oppose my plea to just remove these kinds of things from games altogether. The same sorts of folks that, you know, only get their dopamine hit from, what the fuck do they call it? When I was young, people were all about epic fat loot. That was the parlance of the time, tiring and loathsome as it is. Can't quite get that jump, huh? Okay, well, we'll have to climb to the top and then lower ourselves down. Anyway, whatever the fuck it is it's called these days. Just drops, I suppose, is probably the most common term. I don't see the value in that sort of system. I like consistent rewards. Do thing, get thing. You know how a job works. Or at least to be able to create what it is that I would like to use or to have within a game. That would be cool too. But the notion of drops seems to be so ingrained in both the developer and the player's psyche that they're not going away anytime soon, much as I wish they would. And frankly, again, I remember saying earlier on in earlier videos of this channel, you can tell that I'm absolutely destined for fame, fortune, and wide adoration, because I say things like this. I also wish that the people who liked those would go away. That would be cool. I also find it interesting that a lot of those same individuals, there's a lot of overlap between them, these people that chase these momentary highs from a piece of fictional equipment falling out of a random number generator, and the sorts of individuals that also believe that there is no such thing as content without group content. And I'm always, every time, reminded of just being told that I must take my younger brother along to things, and alternatively, because we've heard that before when I was speaking on Destiny. Alternatively, I'm reminded of the children on the playground that when I would tell them, okay, well, I don't want to play with you, I'm just going to go over here and play by myself, would insist that, no, I had to. I would not be allowed to play by myself. It must be with them. I had no choice but to associate. They were wrong, because I was much faster than them, so I would usually just kind of run the opposite direction as fast as I could, and they couldn't follow. But it's a repeating pattern of behavior. You must do it my way, or not at all. And it just, I don't know, it's an associative thing that I've built up over a long life of playing games, seeing games made, making games for a little while, or at least helping in the process, modifying things. I think I got him. And then being, you know, lashed to sometimes 3 other, sometimes more than that, complete fucking strangers in activities where I don't need their assistance, and I did not ask for their company. And you can take your pick there. That's Destiny. That's Final Fantasy XIV. That's World of Warcraft. It's Guild Wars 2 for raids and shit like that. It's frankly, even the days of, you know, asking for a party in Valkyrie Dunes and having to wait endless hours to level my initial starting class. It was Thief, by the way, back in Final Fantasy XI. And sure, I suppose this may mark me as antisocial, but okay. What about it?
You're almost to the reservoir area. Hook up with the reinforcements I'm sending your way.
I find that's also frequently leveled as a so there. And yeah, you're right. I'm trying to avoid social contact with specific people that I did not invite in. Okay. Is that... Does that mean that, they are right and I am wrong? I don't know, I don't think so. You might think differently, Lost Things. Anyway, we are ripping through it this time. 6 minutes, 36 seconds. That's a lot of sixes. In fact, it's 3 of them. See, this is 6 times 6. And there's another 6. Oh, we also got 66%. And we got 676 here. Which, you know, the 7 minus the 1 is another 6. Everything's 6 if you try hard enough. Numerology is bullshit. Tell that to your aunt that believes in it. I don't know if you have an aunt that believes in it. But if I make broad statements like that, it's going to seem like I'm correct. Because someone will go, oh my god, my aunt. How did he know?
The reinforcements I'm sending your way.
Well, Darby cycles. These are the reinforcements. And this is a boss fight. We remember him from Lost Planet 1. He works the same way. You can shoot those rib bits. You can also shoot the arms off. I would suggest shooting the arms off. Isaac, you have to remove their limbs. Good night, Pi. It's time for a bird to go to sleep. I know, pal. Good night. We gotta give him his bedtime ritual. It's good for him. I believe I even mentioned this during Lost Planet 1 as well. Birds are creatures of habit, too. And there's comfort in patterns. We have to be careful to not become the pattern, though. Partake, but an identity is a complex thing, you know? You're not simply what you like or what you do. There's a lot of things that define an existence. The only thing that defines that guy's existence is getting fucking wrecked, though, am I right? There we are. And we want these boxes because, well, they contain credits and sometimes titles. It's the only way to get new stuff. Spin the wheel. Of course, you don't have to get them if you decide to pick this up and play it. Which, you know, that's up to you. You make your own choices. Alright, relax. Oh, I think I killed Darby Cycles. I wanted that thermal energy, my bad, man. I have to have it, you see.
Glad you're still with us. Now round up whoever's left and finish up this mission.
Okay. Oh, forgot to mention this before. This VS seems to be based on the one we had in Lost Planet 1. It kind of turned into like a snowmobile sort of thing. This one doesn't do that. It just walks slow and is kind of bad. In my opinion, it is the worst VS. It doesn't have any special features. It only has one weapon mount. All in all, you could do much, much, much better. We have a new challenge. Well, we saw a flash at the top of the screen. That's to kill a bunch of Acrid, which I'm gonna anyway. Okay, yeah, I mean, I guess you could do that.
You go on ahead. I'll gather up anyone who's still breathing and catch up with you.
Okay. That guy's gonna catch up with us later. At least that's what he told us. So something that I haven't been harping on too much in this new incarnation of the Prime timeline, because I have that power, by the way, I can just go ahead and take us down another road, is that what we're doing here is a compare and contrast of, you know, two seemingly disparate series. This and Dead Space, and, you know, now perhaps more than when we were Wayne, who turned out to be, someone's stray demigod, at least. We are just kind of some average fucker in above-average circumstances, making our way, fighting insectoid monsters where sometimes we have to cut them apart, with guns, usually with guns. And, you know, there's a focus on technology over mysticism. That's not quite what we're aiming to really talk about, though. Those are just surface-level similarities. As a reminder, both of these series have lost something. They've lost the same thing. Just like I just lost that fucking Gatling gun, Death Summer, you piece of shit. You see what I mean? They ape real players too well. It's fucking eerie. A good try. Anyway, our mission there is complete. But yeah, so this is starting to hint at what it is that they may have lost. We've experienced Wayne. And boy, did we experience Wayne. We haven't yet experienced a return to Isaac, but we'll get there. Things will be different. We're going to continue to the next chapter. Our hint there was to get revenge on those who have hurt our allies most.
We can't make contact with the main force. We have to finish this mission on our own.
Okay.
Guys, but I guess that's better than no one at all.
Still rude. Still rude. I've altered reality and these guys are still rude. Some things are just constants.
Down there. Activate any data posts you find along the way so the main force can get a fix on our location. Got it?
Yeah, I got it. Activate posts, do the thing.
Pass that gate. Move forward and activate those data posts.
Okay, off I go. How are we looking on the playback? Still good? Alright. And on this recording, you'll hear me check in on that, because I'm not sure exactly what the problem was. This is old software that has to interact with other old software, and in fact a service that no longer exists. That being Games for Windows Live. That's not a thing anymore, but you still must kind of attempt to play with it in order to get Lost Planet 2 to run at all. And, well, you know, even finding the executable was something of a chore. These things here, and this thing that I'm doing, is a crate that you can kind of pick up with your thermal energy supplier. It's a way for me to transfer thermal energy between the team here, if I'm playing with, you know, another human being that I actually want to help. Never used this before. What does it do? Oh, does it? Is this like a spare fucking... Let's find out. What is this? What is this? Yes? Cool? I have no fucking idea what this is. Okay. Alright. There's an update from the witch as she's continuing to monitor this situation and kind of help me diagnose what the fuck has gone wrong or right. There we are. So that we can figure out what needs fixing and what doesn't. We can see from the last time that I've done something. It seemed... Oh, Mucho Carlos won. What a dude. I don't know what the V device does. Oh, it highlights things. Okay. It takes up an entire slot to fucking do that? What a rip. That's crazy. Capcom, why? Why would that be all it does? Get this out of here. Never show it to me again. Alright. Up we go. We want that thermal energy. We want that. I gotta shut that guy down. You know how it is. Alright. And of course, as you can see, the AI is not super good. They don't really pay attention the best. And on that particular note, your NPCs will also stand there and stop fighting if you're not within basically eye shot. Sometimes they'll also have a moment like that. Death Summer there has not been the same since he inhaled those fumes from that chain gun engine. I want what's in this crate. We gotta give it thermal energy to open it up. The reason I wanted to open that up is because I want this plasma cannon. There we go. I can't believe the V device just like shows me stuff. I guess they thought that would be real cool and real handy for like more tactical squad play. Same with the shield there. But this is not the game for that. It's a neat idea for a different game. Here it's just fucking weird and unnecessary. Yeah, fucking turn this on. Thank you. There was another staircase that I don't think I've been up before. It was over here. Let's go on a trip, shall we? Oh, number 3 is getting fucking eaten alive. Yeah. The dude got stomped. Oh, it's a back door. Sick. It had a few more of those crates, but I'm not really interested in anything from those right now. I kind of have what I want. A few more notes to make that are roughly similar to what I made last time. You'll notice that we're a lot faster as far as moving, shooting, general gameplay shit in this than we were in Lost Planet 1. Wayne was sluggish and awkward, but he was immortal, so it didn't matter. Here we're not as immortal. We're resilient, but I mean, come on, it's Wayne, you know? We saw that guy just munch rockets. He could not give a fuck. There we go. Got him. Alright. Death Summer still having that same moment. Really into it. Really into whatever the fuck it is that he's doing. Red ×4 is opening that door. Anyway, so we can acquire targets and engage them faster, and our hit detection is better on our firearms and stuff, and that's cool. That was nice to see. In a lot of ways, this is an excellent sequel, I would say, to Lost Planet 1. It's lacking in narrative, but I think someone somewhere on the team understood that the narrative was kind of fucking bad to begin with, and that's okay to just strip it out. We got heavy casualties this time. I mean, the only time that exists. Anyway, they realized that it was bad, and it's fine to just kind of strip it out than to double down, you know? If you can't portray depth and genuine human struggle, if you can't write, you know, relatable characters who seem real and tangible, and if you can't afford to have that portrayed, well, it's okay to say, listen, that's just not what we're doing. I'm not saying don't try to do well, and I'm certainly not saying don't practice and fail. Please, practice. Please, fail. That's fine. That's how anyone does anything. But what I am saying is that if it ain't working and you got a project to finish, or that is supposed to be finished, it's alright to just kind of go, look, that ain't my strengths, and I'm gonna play to my strengths. But of course, that would mean admitting weakness, and we know how loath people are to admit weakness of any kind, don't we? It would seem that the average person's greatest fear is to say, I don't know, maybe you could show me. And this is what we want the plasma cannon for, largely. It works on people, like we showed, and it works on machines just as well. And a lot of the times, the dividends that you reap for firing it at machines outpaces what you spend per charge. Sneaky. He blended in well with the background, huh? I had mentioned this before. This kind of hard point that I'm getting into has several entrances. You can fight your way around the front, or you can do this thing that I'm doing. And sort of hit them from a spot that's less opportune for them, because there's no point in fighting fair at any point in time. In basically anything. If it's a fight, fight to win. That being said, please do remember, games are not fights, and by definition, they are meant to be fair. That's what makes them, you know, valuable. They're an experience that's governed and defined. We see a new kind of VS that we didn't see in Lost Planet 1. That's called a bleed VS. Not much of a view of it this time, but we'll go ahead and get our chance to, like, get our mitts on one, you know? Where am I taking fire from? Oh, just this guy down here? Maybe? There's another VS there. There we go. Alright, we gotta believe in the heart of the cards real quick. There we are. Good job, Mr. Bacall. Good job. He's standing. That's sort of like doing something, right? Oh man, that earlier bit on multiplayer games and the loathsome nature of a lot of the people that populate them, it just reminded me, I have had some of the most bizarre things thrown my way in just playing any of them. Fucking... Have you ever been called a carrier? Like, they've acknowledged that you're doing quite well, and that your team really does seem to rely on you, but they throw it like it's a pejorative. Has that ever happened? Because that's happened to me. And, you know, yeah, you get called all kinds of racial slurs by shrieking 12-year-olds. It's the internet. That happens because companies refuse to regulate it. But, being told that you doing well is somehow insulting, like with the tone in their voice, and it was via voice. I don't quite understand that. Maybe there was some sort of language barrier I wasn't aware of. I couldn't detect an accent. It was just, you know, it sounded like they were speaking in flat American terms. But, like, yeah. It's just, it's fucking weird. It's a weird space to be in. Anyway, that aside, the Bleed VS. It looks kind of like the power loader from Aliens, and we'll get a look at it from the front. We'll also see our repair mechanic. It's just mashing X. I still appreciate it existing, though. Anyway, they either simply thought the name Bleed was cool, or it's because there sure seems to be a lot of places to take a stray bullet, doesn't there? The Bleed has special functions, which we didn't see previously. Not only does it have the dash, it has a limited hover function. But we can kind of swing our robo arms. And if I press U, it will self-destruct. There isn't another VS that I've come across that has that capability. The Bleed does. Well, I'll show it to you in just a moment or two. I want to get across this bridge first. They have quite the hardened position, and it helps to be mounted. And this guy who's sitting still, I can't do anything about until he activates. Because they gotta show it, you know. See? Passes right through. Now we're making contact, though. If the NPCs don't wander directly in front of my gun, you know, kind of like real players do. In a great many games, I'll play something that's similar to a fire support role, I guess you could say. I like big guns. If I'm not allowed to play some sort of like defensive frontliner, the term I tend to use is sharp rock, because a lot of these games are reducible to rock, paper, scissors. And, well, now's as good a time as any here. There we go. That's its special feature, it blows up. Anyway, and you know, some of those games they have friendly fire on. Without fail, I would be suppressing a position or attempting to get some people charging down a hallway, and you could hear the gun. Of course you could. That's part of the draw. You could see the bullets because they're all animated via like tracer. You can see their flight path, and someone would charge out in front of it and then paste a bunch of obscenities in the chat. Also fucking weird. On cool features for multiplayer, this game supports it. You can play this entire campaign co-op. That's kind of nice. You can bring however many people you like. That's also kind of nice. If you've got enough people, you can man this thing. This is the multi-seat VS. It's got those two turrets up there. They each have their own VS weapon slot. As the pilot, I can't use them. So for me, this is kind of useless, because I'm in here by myself, and the NPCs don't ever really mount up that way. So, we just strip these off. It was a nice idea, though. Their attention to detail for a lot of their kind of, like, multiplayer stuff, their multiplayer-oriented stuff, is a wonderful notion. That your friends can ride on the VSs that you've picked up, and that you could pilot one great big one together, seems radical. Even that you should play the entire story campaign together, just as a team, seems nice. We can see the rocket launcher, very powerful, extremely limited in ammunition, because of course it is. It's a rocket launcher. This is a video game. My boy Death Summer here doesn't want to get out of my way. There we are. And sometimes you can kind of kill these incoming ones before they hit the ground. Like I believe I did with that initial one. Down at the bottom we have the enemy's battle gauge. Oh, it's a Pyrrhic victory though. Heavy casualties. Such a shame. Oh, it just tanked that. That's fine. I'm not all that broken up. Okay. They'll get us all out of here, they swear. An S rank, 77, means S. Even though we got told it was a Pyrrhic victory, we didn't really win. It was a victory in name only.
What the hell was that?
I don't know. You tell me, man. You're over there. Fucking look at it. I don't know what you're up to. Move. Cool. Give me this. Yes, please.
System restored.
A short fix. We get this walking. We hope that they don't just kind of grab my shit. That would be nice. Because, hey, ammunition. And we're going to want that ammunition. Up ahead is one of the game's new-ish features. We had the worm. We had a few kind of cordoned off boss arenas. This is much larger than those, isn't it? But there's a lot of Monster Hunter DNA that came from Lost Planet. I should say modern Monster Hunter DNA. As a boy, I remember hooking up the PS2's network adapter to play the original. Back when Black Fatalis was the worst thing that you could fight, and fucking even getting a group together that could attempt it was a hassle. A lot of people felt high and mighty after doing the Lao Shan Lung fight, which was cool, honestly. It was, for the time, it blew my fucking mind that a creature in a game could be that big and that intense. Here's another big one. He's not Lao Shan size, but he's sizable. And we see he's got kind of a wiggly tongue. He's got more than one of those. Well, the game wants me to take out his legs. Yeah, I'm more interested in doing something else right now. I gotta get my reception, you know? It's not just for the sake of reception, of course. It's also because those are our respawn points. And being able to respawn at multiple points around the map is handy. Just in case. Up. Alright. And once I'm done with this, I'll commit to the boss fight proper, and we'll go ahead and we'll grab this flight-capable VS over here. Of note, and something nice, the NPCs will actually help out during this boss fight. They won't simply become idle if you're not looking at them. So that was cool. I appreciated that. We're still going to do a lot of the heavy lifting, as you can see. Hey. We can, if we're quick and if we want to, climb inside it and kind of go for a ride in its innards and break a few things here and there. I don't really care for that. It's visually messy and also doesn't seem to serve much of a purpose. You just kind of go on an orange log flume, and sometimes stuff explodes at you. But I need you to move away from my flight-capable VS there. I say flight. I should say hover. It doesn't really fly terribly long. It floats. He's not moving. He's being a real shithead about this. Yeah, well, I might want this. Ow. Looks like he did his slam move. I thought that would line of sight, but apparently it didn't. Anyway. We'll fix this. We'll fix us. We'll get in. We'll move around. We'll come back for that rocket launcher. Yeah. I see you. There we go. The reason that I'm going for this thing is that it makes it a lot easier to get around. And getting around is your primary defense when it comes to large things like this because of the Capcom lock. If you've played a Capcom game, you've probably experienced it. It's where the game kind of just nudges you over and over again, like it's trying to do right now. And you don't end up capable of moving or responding to the threat that's in front of you. You just kind of get jostled endlessly. Aha! It's a good attempt. I will get my equipment, sir. You'll move away from this eventually. I know you will. You'll have to turn around. There we go. And there we go. Sure, fine, whatever. They ended up reversed. It's not a big deal. And again, another good try. Really a valiant attempt. And he'll shuffle his way on over this way. But you can see how much the kind of aerial advantage really helps out. We just have to try not to, you know, wind up in the water, which you can do. If you fall in, that's a death. There we go. Oh, my boy Death Summer there took my thing and used all but one round. Excellent. Thank you, friend. Thank you. No, very good. Very good. We may be stuck against the data post. There we go. I freed us. Anyway, like with a whole lot of video game enemies, you kind of just want to hit the weak spot and very little else. You can, technically, just kind of like pepper this thing and tag it all over the place. But, you know, don't do that. And we've won. You can tell because it's exploding. And explosions are typically a symptom of, you know, I guess dying in a video game. Most people don't go through violent eruptions. Things, for that matter, either. I kind of miss the days when, like, old Capcom bosses would produce a fuckload of, like, these little explosions. I think that was really popular around, like, the Mega Man X era. You'd see a whole lot of little bursts. Oh, hang on, there's a team cheer. I gotta get these boxes, but there's a team cheer. Okay. Alright, are we ready? Here, hang on. No, don't advance until I've done it. I did it alone. Yeah! Get it, Death Summer. You complete fucking plank. Alright. Now it's chilly.
It's the same message we got.
Pardon me, let me get something to drink.
They were the pickup unit. Doesn't sound like it.
Glad to see someone still breathing down there. I need you to guide me in for the pickup.
There we go. I tell you, it really dries you out.
Let's hope this pickup's the real deal.
Okay, we're hopeful that this pickup is the real deal.
Thought I was gonna die of old age. What the hell kept you?
What do you mean what kept me? I was returning to base when I picked up the signal of a Category G acrid.
My goodness.
Wait a minute, you're not the retrieval team?
Damn. You guys were set up too, huh?
What are you talking about?
Take a listen to this.
I want to retrieve as many of you as I can at once. Join up with the others at the rendezvous point, and we'll get you all out of there.
Who sent that transmission?
The unit that sent it doesn't exist on the main log.
And no one checked.
Rescue squad either.
That's what I would take away from this, is that it's a setup, but no one checked.
Wiped out.
Why would someone do this? don't know any snow pirates who are capable of something like this.
Wayne is.
He definitely tore the hell out of this place. The ambient temperature is dropping rapidly. This whole area is about to go to hell in a handbasket.
I don't get it. There's nothing to be gained by wiping out snow pirates. Unless you had some kind of grudge.
Or unless you were after the thermal energy, which is the driving force of conflict and, you know, the whole game narrative. Even reaching back to the prequel. That's that orange stuff. Just in case this is the first thing you've seen. Which I don't know why you wanted to start here, but hey. You know, you do you. We gotta be Asba. We're gonna open these boxes. We got credits. We're continuing. Next episode. We're almost caught up. We're almost. And this, we'll see what Lost Planet is kind of supposed to be. It's these little bits and pieces of the different factions doing stuff. Mostly disparate stuff. They all come together at the end somehow. I'll leave that up to be shown.
We're going to survey the large-scale vehicle the carpetbaggers are building.
Really unfortunate name.
From Nevik, and we want to know what it is.
I can't call them carpetbaggers.
Quite. For the past few years, we've allowed them to build certain machinery and weapons with technology we've provided. We'll be going up against the carpetbaggers. Some of their activities have been tolerated up until now.
Okay.
Gone beyond what the higher-ups are willing to overlook. That's why you're on this mission.
Copy that. Ready for separation.
Take the lead.
There we go, via crab mech. And we remember the eyeball bots from Wayne time.
We've got Cyclops units up ahead. Can't believe they still recycle these things.
We got them though. They're got.
Obstacles have been eliminated. Good luck, Task Force First Descent. You don't.
Thank you.
Who's being patronizing? Your team is responsible for countless successful missions. You do us all proud.
Yeah, so proud that no one ever replaces the operatives we lose on missions.
As far as Nevik's concerned, we're just expendable assets.
I mean, yeah. Anyway, usually you're playing one of the faction members that you're
There's been somewhat of a rebellion
assigned via chapter.
by some dissidents. With so much
Oh, it's been seized.
no one will notice a little extra gunfire.
Okay, cool. We're free to kill the locals.
Take care of these VSs.
Yeah, don't fuck up my crab mech.
We've gotten reports that remnants of the rogue Nevik forces may be active in this area. It's been 9 years since we replaced them, but they never did.
Okay.
It's time to quit.
Great. I'm not dressed for this anymore. And my friends are dressed like bumblebees. Anyway, if you complete the campaign, which there has been pre-production on this, you can do the character customization thing and play your custom character in the campaign. Which is also kind of nice for playing things with your friends, you know, see what they came up with, given the limited things at their disposal. Who likes what look. And that's why we look the way we do. Because this is our custom character. So this whole story starts to look like one very confused temp worker bouncing from thing to thing. We're locked, we're loaded. Acrid's orange glowing core is their most vulnerable spot. They're challenging us to infiltrate without casualties, but we have the NPCs with us. We know that's not going to happen. And they want us to stay out of the searchlights. Maybe. Maybe. It might happen.
Watch out for those searchlights. Just because their technology is primitive doesn't mean it's useless.
Sure. Searchlights are primitive, according to Nevik. Remember that. You don't have to remember that. It's never going to come up again. In fact, most of the events that you're witnessing don't come up in the future of this very narrative. There are things that show up. Sure. Like this. The thing that we're here for, it shows up again. But, not much else does. In fact, there's an entire faction and an entire super weapon that we see, and it's introduced, and it's treated like it's the coolest fucking thing in the world. Then it doesn't really. Nothing happens. We kind of forget. Anyway, up out of that crate we got our plasma gun. We remember that from Wayne times. Still good. Still good against VSs and people.
Activate all data posts you find so I can keep track of the situation down there.
Discrete 51 is now having the same moment. And we'll just kind of use this corridor as cover, because otherwise it's a bit of a shooting gallery there, huh? Well, might help if I switched to the grenade, wouldn't it? Maybe just a smidge, just a little. Well, part of the cards. There we go. Well, there we go. We see Greenfield taking the lead. He seems a lot like a name from another Capcom game, but no, surely they wouldn't do that. There we go. We avoided the searchlights. No casualties. I'm stunned. We know the pose we strike. There we are. Not a high battle gauge that time, but still an S. There weren't many data posts to activate. The battle gauge, by the way, works similarly to like Monster Hunter respawns. You lose points every time that you respawn when it reaches 0. It tells you, okay, well, maybe you want to just collect yourself and do a take 2, huh? We see those there. They're part of a security system that the game is going to task us with avoiding. And yeah, it helps. See, there you go. That summons extra guys, which isn't great, but it's not the end of the world. We're going to do our best to avoid and otherwise destroy those before they become an issue. And we see digging is back. Sometimes it's rubbish, sometimes it's snow. There's another one here. We got that guy being clueless. We got calls to join the revolution, which sadly I can't answer. Okay. Discreet is just really into everything that I'm doing here. Dude is hardcore down. Alright, we have one data post activated. Oh, the fires of revolution is getting screamed about. Yeah, I know, I won't get away with it. Well, that guy's got ups. There's another one. There's another one in this building as well, but we'll get to that.
It's the enemy!
Yeah, it is. There we go. And another one in that building. There's that one. I'm not sure if the NPCs can actually trigger those, you know, if they walk past them, that it counts as a detection. I wouldn't put it past Capcom. They're usually pretty unforgiving with their multiplayer versus single player mechanics. I remember when Monster Hunter World was new, there was 2 flavors that monsters came in. It was single player and multiplayer was always built for 4 people. So if you were just playing with 1 extra person, you were making life harder for yourself. I didn't notice. They had to tell me that that was the case. Because typically I play games that have a co-op component, if she wants to, with the witch. I'm sure she felt the stress. Me, not so much. I just took it as that's the way that things are. You get swatted through a tree by a Tyrannosaurus that breathes fire, you know, hey, it'd be like that sometimes. Dust yourself off and have another go at him. That's a terrible joke. She's muttered to me, you know, in her way, and the little bits and pieces of words that you can discern through the chanting, that the turkey Tyrannosaurus slaps, literally. Absolutely awful. Frankly, I think those jokes should be classified as a mental illness and treated. Yeah, that's true. She said that I'm a mental illness. And there's an argument to be made there.
Watch your back. The slum dwellers are trying to raise the entire city.
Okay. The slum dwellers are trying to raise the entire city, so the poor have risen up. They're not going to take it anymore. I would love to help them. I don't get to. In fact, I don't know who I'm shooting. I don't know who I'm shooting at all. Could be the people that I would like to help. Could be their oppressors. They certainly seem to have money. And gear. Gadgets. All kinds of shit. So like I said, the plasma gun here that I have to hop in order to get around Greenfield Shield. You see what I mean about the NPCs? It's so real. This is my experience every time that I play a multiplayer anything. The plasma gun's still good against VSs, against humans, against whatever. It's just not quite as good as the plasma cannon. Faster projectile though, so I imagine that it was much handier in the competitive multiplayer stuff. You know, you want to deliver that shot now, and there is such a thing as hard-hitting enough. Especially where... Yeah, thanks. I'm gonna access Central City from the area ahead. They wanted me to know that. There's only one way to go, my man. But yeah, especially when it comes to, like, multiplayer modes that have fixed health in the interest of balance. I've made mention that I don't really care for the concept of video game balance to begin with, because it ignores the purpose of having things simply behave differently, and assumes that different means better than, and nobody wants that. They say they want chess, and what they want is checkers. I think that's fine if absolutely everything is going to be the same, and that's how the game was designed from the outset. You know, like a Counter-Strike, I understand. I spent my time on fucking original recipe Counter-Strike. I get it. But even there, you have weapons and such that were above and beyond others, and some that were just completely useless outside of very specific situations. There's a reason that the AWP has its reputation. I'm not sure what the current situation is with Counter-Strike. I'm sure I wouldn't like it these days. I'm sure I would hate the people that play it. Oh, you got him, huh? Good shooting. There we go, and we have the last data post here. And off we go. We're catching up. We're catching up. You coming? You just gonna stand in the fire? His name is Goma Flame, so I guess that's fine. Mission complete. About 4 minutes there. Another A. I wonder if time figures into it. It must, right? It's a Capcom game. They want you to do it fast.
For sending personnel and materials into Central City.
Okay.
Infiltrate the city by commandeering a train headed there.
Sure.
There's only one control post in this area.
Great.
Locate and activate it as quickly as possible.
Understood.
Once it's activated, we'll be able to hack into the train's controls.
Sure, why not? Alright, so we want the control point. A King of the Hill style thing, if you will. There's one point. The longer you stay there, the better you're doing until you win. In this case, it's just, you know, a timer that ticks down until victory rather than a points total that gets reached. Same outcome. Honestly, same implementation, just different way of displaying it. Of note, the train can run by and kill you. You don't want to be on the tracks when it zips by. Anyway, continuing points from earlier, with my complaints about multiplayer games being what they are, of course, and I think I've mentioned this in the Destiny videos as well, that, you know, it's reasonable to ask, well then why do you play them? The answer is twofold. In the Destiny video I talked about how I liked games as a service, as kind of like a thing. At least as an idea, not necessarily the way that they implement it, because a lot of the times it's scummy and ridiculous. Looking at you, Anthem. Or really anyone that has a rotating cash shop. Like, don't do that. Just let me purchase from the fucking complete catalog, would you? You're not gonna trick me with telling me that it's scarce and rare. It's digital. I know you can just give me some. Anyway, I like that I could revisit a world later and there would be new things to do. Usually with a lot of games, you play it and then it's done and that's it. That's the experience. And that's fine. But I like... Sometimes I like just sort of digging into a setting and getting real familiar with it And I can't do that with, say, you know, here's a single-player game that I particularly enjoyed. Most people did not. They thought it was the worst thing ever because it didn't involve shooting as many brown people as you like. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare? I think it's the best one in the series. I like it a lot. I like the setting. I thought the plot, boilerplate as it was perfectly fine. I'd put that as a TV movie, you know? But I can't go back and see how that world is doing. It's the same as I left it. There's only one way for it to be, and only one way that it's ever going to be in the future. With, say, even a game that I don't particularly care to play, like Final Fantasy XIV, I don't like the way that it plays. It's glacial, it's slow, the classes are all the fucking same. The fucking costume design is ridiculous, and where it's not ridiculous, it's outright terrible. That's all I'll say on that for the time being, but I can go back to that world and be like, hey, did you fucking fix it yet? Is it better now? I can't do that basically anywhere, or with anything else. It's just not how games go. So it's, you know, games as a service and MMOs or fucking nothing.
That should do it.
Total victory. I gotta fix myself up here. Even games that started out questionable, you know, like Anthem, that launched with flight mechanics but one fucking map, and nothing to do, really. You know, you can run the same missions over and over again, or do like a fucking dungeon and try to get those fat loot drops. But again, I don't have a gambling problem, so I don't feel the need to roll dice endlessly to get incremental upgrades. And frankly, a gun is a gun. It's not... If it's firing the same cartridge, it's probably not going to kill him deader. Sass. We still got it. Still got sass. Full of sass. We're in sass overload. That time we got a title. Alright, next chapter. I can check back in with Anthem and be like, did we fix it?
Change into Type A gear.
We probably didn't fix it. They just want to talk to me about loot. I don't fucking care about loot. Here we go. It's that cutscene where they put on even dumber helmets. Me, I didn't change my clothes. And that's what we're here for. We want that.
On the large train. Scratch that on the large weapon. I'm sending recon visuals now.
Copy that. There's been a slight change to your mission.
Uh-huh.
Enter Central City via the industrial area.
I like that we're just on speakerphone. This is a top secret mission. God, those helmets are terrible. They're really bad.
Don't worry about any collateral damage to the city. Do what you need to complete your mission.
Okay. Here we are. Oh boy, we missed an entire stage. Okay, well, we're rectifying that now. You know, in that timeline that no longer exists, that only some of you may remember. Of course, I remember it. Many roads, all that stuff, but... you know. You know.
Difficult to maintain satellite surveillance in that area.
This is a conveyor belt level. Because again, this is Capcom, so there's a little bit of a lot of things they do in it. You know, here we've encountered a little bit of Mega Man. Oh, I'm full, that's why. We don't want those boxes that are falling onto the belt here to land on us. They will kill us. Not Greenfield. Get out of the way, my man. There we go. pain in the ass. Could not get to it in time. That guy is in disbelief. Some more ammo. Something I didn't get to talk about last time with the different sorts of weapons and different variants thereof. Some of them have little extra hidden features, like the sword gun here. Whenever I kill something with the sword, it's guaranteed to drop one of those little boxes. So you generate more stuff. Oh, I've set myself on fire again. For getting those riskier melee kills. More credits means more boxes means more of a chance to get something that you might want. Again, in this single-player game that does not require that kind of mechanic whatsoever and really only exists to drive sales, but hey, we're game developers, let's roll them fucking dice, right? Never mind that dice rolls, even in tabletop, are just there to attempt to, and this is something that all people that work in games know, attempt to crudely simulate circumstances otherwise unaccounted for by the game's rules itself. It's really not supposed to be anything other than that. You know, we gotta include them. We got so fixated on the notion that the die must roll that we didn't ask why it's rolling, or whether or not the current system could be improved, or if it was a stopgap and nothing more. It's just dice rolls. Dice rolls. That's how games work, right? Dice rolls? And then, of course, the number modifiers and so on and so forth. I'm not sure if I mentioned it. We can crouch now. That's good. Being able to use your environment is nice, and being able to take cover is nicer. It's not something Wayne could do or was interested in doing, but then again, Wayne could not die. It was impossible. The only way to get rid of Wayne was to wait until his brain went bad. Reception. Yeesh. That seemed excessive. There we are. And we see that we just kind of have to move through these quickly-ish. Oop. Yep. Couldn't get to the second flamethrower guy in time. That's okay. We'll get up there and we'll reclaim our equipment from our respawn point. There we go. That'll teach me to talk and shoot at the same time. I'm just kidding. It fucking won't. I'm going to continue to do both of them. There we go. We recover our stuff. We just don't recover our thermal energy, which is a fine enough trade-off. Consequences for dying aren't bad. They're telling me the press is my friend. It's not. That guy wanted me to come get him, but his friend hit him with a fucking grenade. Well, that's the press. I tried to beat it. We didn't. Again, that's okay. Anyway, having learned nothing, we're gonna run right back in there. The conveyor belt level kind of sucks this way, in that you're largely stuck on the belt, and there's not a lot in the way of cover or resources. I mean, you can get bogged down there if they get a good enough position. Yeah, the press blocked me from getting my thrown grenade kill. At least I can pick things up through it. And blow myself up with them. Goma Flame fucking loved that. Alright, we're finally off the conveyor belt. We can pick up more things. Yeah, we're just gonna have to get that in this little hallway here. And get electrocuted. Hey boys, do you wanna... No? Okay. It was his brother. I don't think it was his literal brother, but, you know. I'm also not sure if those shields can be up forever. If I can get close enough to him and eliminate his friend who's going to try to shoot me. There we go. The shield can reach through. Oh, thanks. Good of you to join me. I appreciate it. Up we go. This is the end of the stage. Bit of a thing at the end there, huh? Oh well. Ah. That was just that we're coming up on the 2-hour mark, but we're gonna catch up to where we were. It'll run a little bit over, but I think it's just the boss fight. And hopefully this one will be more watchable, despite my disposition in it. We gotta be anyway.
Visual on the target area. I'm tracking your position.
No, fuck that.
Instructions will follow, so continue moving forward for now.
Okay. I said fuck that, though. I don't have a visual on anything. I'll never look at a single thing in my life. We must advance to target 2. Oh boy, we missed a bit, didn't we? Okay. We have to move through this place. Windows and doors are destructible. This is an interesting stage. I'm sorry we missed it before. It forces you into close quarters, which is not something we've seen before in this game. Like, not quarters this close, at the very least. And I do appreciate that it looks like we're on the inside of where someone could live. It's not, you know, another bizarre and foreign kind of like laboratory setting. This is apartments, clearly. There we go. We've managed to put ourselves out. And we're gonna have to find a way around that guy with the flamethrower on the stairs. Simple things like this, and this again goes out to future and aspiring game developers that may, by some bizarre chance, stumble onto these nothing videos I make for no one. Simple things like this go so much further than bizarre and contrived methods of complicating play. If you change the field, you change the way that the player must interact with your game. Simple problems oftentimes require creative solutions. So, you know, is it more beneficial to take a long-range weapon here? Well, no. Is it also hazardous to use an explosive here? Yes, absolutely. There's additional stuff to consider that you wouldn't have to consider in more open stages. And things like that become death traps. That guy with the shotgun there, that's no good. He left? I guess he left. Oh, nope. That may have been a different one, and he may have just spawned in. Yeah, that's the one that we were looking for. See that great big shotgun that he's got? Yeah, that's what that does. Well, hey, my team got him. They helped out. Look at you guys. There we are. And thanks to weird camera angles, we didn't really get a chance to engage that the way that I would have liked. That's a flaw, but... there we are. Something that resembles cover, at least. Really precarious footing. And there we go. Motherfucker is still just loving it. Loving what he sees. And the reason that they're all there is because that's the exit. We've done it. But yeah, rather than, you know, having them collect a bizarre space egg to sprinkle fucking underspice on and plug that into a statue to get out of a library, maybe do something like that. Maybe just put them in an apartment building and say, you don't really know your way around this. Go for it.
Activate data posts so I can provide you with intel on the enemy's forces.
Yeah, we missed quite a bit. That stage select thing needs work, then. It's not going to get it. This game is very, very old, and no one pays attention to it anymore. Not even enough to patch out games for Windows Live, which they ought to. Anyway, from a kind of tabletop game that I run sometimes, whenever people are up to playing it, one of the major quandaries that I had placed was that there was a vault and you might want something that's in that vault. You have the means to simply breach the door. It could be ripped right off if you wanted, but that would flood it because, well, the elevator leading down had flooded. The building was old and it sank. So how do we get the vault open without flooding it? And that's it. That was the conundrum. Of course, because it's a tabletop game, I don't have to worry about budget or you know, physics assets and that sort of thing. So you work with what you've got. But it was a simple problem that would otherwise, you know, not concern terribly powerful characters. But the complicating factor was the water. You want the stuff in the vault. Simply tearing it open and ruining the vault, well, that defeats the purpose of getting in the vault. So naturally, the players are not going to want to do that. Likewise for a game of Dark Heresy I had been running a long time ago at this point. Quite some time. The trial was to clear a multi-tier building. The residents, legal or otherwise, were entrenched on the floors of the building. Getting up these floors just with force alone would be a tall order. It's not something that really would have been kind as far as a playable experience is concerned. But the solution that the players came up with was, well, what's the floor made out of? And do we have weapons that penetrate that, or can we damage the structure? And damage the structure they did, to the point of destabilizing these otherwise bottlenecked and purposefully built defensive choke points.
Initializing.
There we are. We're going to have to make our way over here. And deal with our friends. The hull's not really compromised, my man. There we are. As I said before, the pile bunker here is very powerful. It's still not something that I prefer to use. But we have a replacement.
Entering standby.
It's got the ability to hover. You know how we feel about that. And yeah, this is running a little bit long to make up for lost time. Hopefully you don't mind lost things. I know the witch does.
Entering standby.
She's been doing nothing but, you know, uttering the curse that she thinks will turn me to stone, but that only works on flesh. She thinks I don't hear the stone curse. I know.
Analysis complete. We'll have to take out the defense force before we can move into the central area.
Alright, our analysis is complete. They're gonna have to do something. Mostly it's that we're going to have to shoot more dudes. And whereas I did not appreciate objectives like this as Isaac, I'm just fine with it here. This is okay. We have to, as storytellers of any kind, consider who it is we're talking about when we're talking. An engineer, if that is one of their defining characteristics, as we're led to believe it is with one Isaac Clarke, should probably spend a lot of their time doing that, shouldn't they? That should be the kind of place they come from for most of their solutions. That mindset of, let's figure it out, or let me build something that will help us. Rather than what we got, which was, I don't know, I guess shoot it, Isaac. Isaac, you must get in there and kill it. Not even build a machine to kill it. Fucking Dead Rising protagonists do more time, like, fucking crafting weapons and shit than Isaac Clarke did. And Isaac Clarke's whole fucking shtick is that he's an engineer. Anyway, of course, it makes sense for our individual here in Lost Planet, to just be kind of often fools left and right. It's the life they lead. It's the only life they've led for quite some time. They tell us EDN is a violent place in the beginning little bits and bobs of our reintroduction to this world.
System restore.
Let's see what's in this, shall we? Maybe it's a new VS weapon. We've only got a little bit more to go on the boss meter. Well, on the boy meter, I should say. Yeah, it's a new one. Not a good one, but it's a new one. And we do have one that's empty. There we go.
Proceed to the next phase of the mission. We're almost at the railway.
Oh, the witch just relayed the comment about the anchor on the wall there with the precarious footing. Thanks. I can't really see chat regularly. But yeah, you know, I'll keep that in mind for if I play this game again in the future. Probably won't. Bah. It's fun to dig up every now and again, not so much to make a thing out of, you know? Okay, I believe now we're at Acrid X. Yeah, there we go.
Activate all data posts you find in the area.
I will.
Once you have done that, I can hack into the control system.
Well, I mean, once I've done that, we're going to take a break. And probably be back at it tomorrow. Yeah, man, kind of a shame that they just strip your shit. Such is life. Such is life. Gimme. You first. Oh, he fell. Or jumped. I believe I've been nudged by a teammate. They'll do that. There we are. There we are. I hear you. Told you I heard you. And there we go. Good job, Greenfield. He's holding down the fort. And we'll swap that out for this. And we'll grab that. We'll touch this. There's no reason to go over there and touch that because they just fucking take it away from me in the next scene. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Like, you know, they stripped us of our reserves and our equipment between the last mission and this one. I'm not entirely sure what their internal logic was for that. To allow continuity in some spots and disallow it in others.
I don't know what the hell that is, but it's big.
It's big. And it's close. Honestly, we'll probably just hop in this because, like, it's one more thing to get slapped instead of us. Because I'm gonna steal their shit. The controls are unhackable now. And they're leaving with the railway gun. The bastards. Yaha. I know, you're very frightening. I'm very scared. Big bug. Yeah, there it is, hopping all around. It's got devil horns and everything. Looks a little bit like a bug Diablos. It might just be the horns. No, it's the coloration too. And the kind of plating that it's got. It doesn't strike me as entirely chitinous. It's pocked and like marked and stuff. The term for that is, as far as like making a model or making a character, fucking around with textures, is greebling. You throw a whole lot of things to just sort of break up the shape. At least we called it greebling. Other people may call it other things. Every workplace has its own jargon. And there it goes.
That's not good.
Yeah, it's definitely not good. They're not gonna rate me highly on my violent gig worker app. There they go. Goodbye, my 5-star rating. Hello, bug. Still at it. No head, no brain necessary. How do the Acrid work? It doesn't matter, it's a Capcom game. Nobody at the company understands what biology is. And frankly, they didn't ask. Yeah, I'm working on it. Don't be a dick. Yeah.
Ready.
This time we know we only have the bleeds here. Hey. And we know that killing the arm stuns him. Oh no, he hit us with the other hand. Who would have thought? And we know that we can largely unfuck ourselves if we hide under the bridge. Mm-hmm. And that's where I'm going presently. I don't know if we're downtown, but this is not the only place that I've drawn some blood. I will freely admit to not being able to get enough. Okay. We got tossed around by the impact. Kind of like how you can get staggered in Monster Hunter. There's that Monster Hunter kind of through line there. And like before, we'll kind of do the first phase of this. Alright. Now I'm entering standby. Thank you. We'll do the first phase of this with the chain gun and kind of more conventional things. We'll deal with the pile bunker for kind of phase 2. Give me that back. Fixes. Enter. My boys are getting just completely romped there. And we caught a hook ourselves. Oh, that's right. The bleed can also throw grenades. Forgot about that entirely. That's kind of a cool feature. Anyway, this is what I wanted. Because it's going to take a second or two. Where'd he get to? Oh, he's up. Doing the up thing. Doing his best to land on us. It got its head back, kinda. There he goes. I'm not sure if the dash has iframes or not. I'm gonna treat it like it might. Yeah, you ate that one hard, huh? Try not to do that in the future. Seems like it might. Seems like it might. Or I was just out of range. It's sort of hard to tell, you know. I don't play this game as a career. No. There we go. And we're up again. Yeah, that definitely has iframes. Okay, cool. Good to know. You know, something I've noticed that I don't remember much about the marketing campaign of this game. I don't even remember if it had one. I don't think I saw ads for it or really like anything. It just sort of appeared as if out of the ether. I'll use it, don't worry about it. We'll get there. I do want these boxes. And at this point, I think it would be less effort to just empty this chain gun and then hop in a new bleed. You probably get a pile bunker ready, though, right? I believe the closest one is just down here. That's so slow in the hover. Okay. Yeah. Just rip that off. Okay. We're gonna duck in here. We're gonna press and hold this. There we go. Now we're ready to rejoin the world. We're ready for them to see us. I do think that they'll understand. And you know what? We'll leave that down there for the time being. Nope. Alright. Hey, bud. Sure. Oh, it doesn't. It may have been in response to the iframes. It looked like it did there. I might be wrong. Played a lot of Lost Planet too, huh? There we go. Yeah, but you'll never fucking take me alive. Okay. You got Greenfield, though. You can keep him. I think we're almost done with phase 1 here. There we go. Oh, no. No. Bar's empty, but alright, sure. That's okay. Oh, no, he just had to have his last hurrah. Alright, sure. Fuck you. There we go. Yeah.
Take that thing down.
There we go. That's one. Yeah, you're gonna want to fucking fix that, huh? Yeah, you do that thing. Cool. Oh, that's right, I have to reload the fucking thing. My bad. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. You'll turn it towards me. We'll get there. Or it'll face me a weird direction. That could happen too. If we have to eject from this and abandon it, that's fine. Let's reload. Yep. Oh well. It's one of those things that's not all that important. We slapped it once. We saw the pile bunkers very powerful. There we go. We're done. Hey, are you done? You finished? Okay, there we go. Now it's finished. Uh-huh. 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 We get these boxes. A team cheer. Did you have to come over here to cheer? Greenfield? Yes, apparently. Sometimes it'll let you get that that extra little good job point with NPCs. Sometimes they don't do it in time. Anyway, new guy, if you're still hanging around, welcome. Would have said it before. Didn't see you. Can't see chat right now. But we're working on that. Ah, it's the worst helmet.
We were unable to take the railway gun, sir.
Another unit's taking care of it. Tell me more about this Category G grid.
There's
Yeah.
a data on it in the Grand Archives. We've never seen anything like it before.
I see.
Yeah, no one's ever seen anything like it before. It's,
Sorry, sir. Neos?
it's new for this game. It just regenerates.
We detected what we believe was a Category G grid.
There's a lot of things during this time that were just like, well, it just regenerates.
Calling the thing you just fought Acrid X.
A space acrid.
I'm sending you and your team on another mission.
So soon? Sir.
Our reports
You know, we had not Nemesis in Dead Space.
far from the flight path Acrid X.
We had Wayne in Lost Planet.
But will continual activity by the Cat Gs cause a sudden...
We got Acrid X.
That is not your concern, soldier. Are you clear on your objective?
Around the same time we had the regenerators in Resident Evil.
Good. Those troops will remain here. You and your men take the transport to the operation area. Move, people!
Take those stupid fucking helmets with you. Oh, they're the worst. What little ones under his, like, I'm assuming lenses. Yeah, what are those?
Don't worry, sir. We'll get it done.
We will. And then it's not my hood anymore. These cutscenes are fun with custom characters.
Commander! Are you sending them on their next mission already?
Of course. That soldier is Task Force First Descent.
First Descent? The clones? How come they're the ones who keep pulling the suicide missions?
They're an experimental team cloned from that rebel Ivan Solotov. They carry the genes of a proven traitor. So as far as I'm concerned, every time one of them gets picked off, that's one less problem for me.
Okay. Because genes determine your personality and motivations. Not that they don't influence it, I'm sure, but it's nature, nurture, that whole thing. Anyway, it seems we're clones of Yuri, at least going through here. The harbingers of Nevik, Task Force First Descent are. Or rather, of Yuri's father. Yuri himself may have been a clone. If I'm not mistaken, that haircut looks real familiar. It may just be the Yuri model. We got an S. Just says S. Because there's only one S. We got contents. Alright. And that is the episode. We're gonna save and return. Episode cleared. Next episode is Bad Latin, Liberame. These guys are my favorite faction. I like them the most out of all the Lost Planet people. We'll send you here. And we'll kill that noise. Yeah. Lost Planet. Like I said, the guys that we're going to play the next time. The Waysiders or Waystriders, maybe? Not entirely sure. They are, of course, my favorite among the factions. I have a soft spot for wayward, lost things, like you can imagine. Despite their Latin being very bad, and their voice acting also being very bad. But voice acting being very bad is a staple of Capcom games around this time. For now, I'll leave you to wander alone for a little bit. See ya.